Good evening once again, and welcome to another episode of Caribbean Feedback. My name is Curtis Henry, and I am your moderator this evening. Sitting in three of our regular panelists. We hope that our latecomer to class will be joining us shortly. We have with us this evening a guest, Miss Rhonda Fowler. I will give you the time to introduce yourself and tell us what great qualifications and what high esteem and honors you have, and what it is exactly you do. Let us begin first by saying that Caribbean Feedback is that type of backyard conversations, we like to call it, where we sit down and reason. We sit and talk about conversations, things that are happening in the community, issues that affects the family and affects us as a people. This evening, we have a very important topic at hand. But before we begin, I'd like for us to do our round table and for each and every one of us to introduce ourselves and tell us who you are and what it is you do. Good night, Lucy. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd like to begin with Karin. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Karin Forrester. I represent Bantu Creations. Bantu Creations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in amazing shapes, colors, and sizes. You can find Bantu Creations on IG as Bantu Creations and also on Facebook as Bantu Creations. Back to you, Curtis.
And I urge each and every one of our listeners, Christmas is around the corner for those of you who celebrate. Good night, Sherry and Sylvester. Thank you so much for joining us. Look up Bantu Creations. Christmas is around the corner. It's that time to do your shopping. Why not keep the dollars within the community? Keep it in the family. Visit Bantu Creations and do some shopping. Mr. Mark Chase, welcome.
Yes, sir. How are you this evening? I'm Mark Chase, representing Chase Audit Services. We provide audit services and financial services for the private and government sector. If you find yourself in need or in trouble, don't hesitate to call us. We can be found on just about every public venue as Chase Audit Services and also Gaia Rap LLC. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Archer, talk to us.
Greetings, everyone. How you all doing, my esteemed colleagues and our special guests tonight? I'm happy to just be a part of this splendiferous and festive and educative and informative panel. Actually the most informative panel ever. And tonight, I feel really good because it's episode 20. Yeah.
Episode number
Give
20.
yourselves a round of applause.
Yes. Thank you so
I'm
much.
going to drink to that really quick right here. All right. You'll wait till the 25th episode. I'm going to do it here. And I'm really excited. 20 is really a good number. And, Mark, okay, that we're going to leave that joke out until next time. But, but I hail from Musilog magazine, where music, entertainment, and culture lives. And as we mentioned last week, we are celebrating our launch of Musilog Woman, our sister publication headed by Nadira Noorjahan and her writers of women Musilog Women Ambassadors, and we want to definitely give them a powerful shout out. They've been having a really great week. So you guys visit musilogwoman.com. And Karin, I see Karin smiling. I'm sure you've been checking out the articles, and they've been having a really great week. So shout out to musilogwoman.com. And I am the proud author of the book Hybrid Executive, great for up and coming artists and business. People want to figure it out, open the mind up, and it's a beautiful thing. So back to you, Mr. Curtis Henry.
Thank you so much, Samuel Archer. At this time, I'd like to welcome our guest to the show. Good evening, Rhonda. Miss Rhonda Fowler, could you please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and exactly what it is you do?
Yes, I am. My name's Rhonda Fowler. I'm a regional vice president with a New York Stock Exchange company that works with middle income families, not the very, very wealthy and not the very, very poor, just helping folks get through all of the struggles and things that we're doing in terms of saving for retirement, in terms of getting out of debt, in terms of financial independence, in terms of making more money and just really understanding and knowing what to do with all of our money. I'm really excited about being able to share with you all tonight, particularly generational wealth is what people are interested in, and most folks are. We don't have a roadmap to it, and I like sharing that with folks.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. I am sitting here in anticipation of the wealth of information that each and every one of us is bringing. Each and every one of us are bringing to the table this evening. Judith, could you pull the top of your screen down for me, please?
Sorry.
Yes. Good evening and welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there.
Our problem
Good night,
student,
Dr. Judith. How are you, my
easing
dear?
in late.
I was here quite a little while waiting to be welcomed in.
Well, welcome.
It said I was in the back room.
Good evening, Judith. Please introduce yourself.
All.
Introduce
my
yourself.
name is Judith.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Judith Barnes. I am a Christian therapist. I'm also a paraprofessional working with special needs children. I'm a painter, artist, as well as bathrooms. I paint bathrooms too. I have a son. I'm a mother of a 24-year-old young man, and I come from a very large family, mostly males in the broadcasting field back home in Jamaica and in Florida, New York, and all that good stuff. And I love the Lord immensely. And the good news, He loves me back. That's it. And I'm glad to be here, always.
And we are happy to have you. Thank you so much, Judith. As stated before,
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I saw that look that you just, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, sir. But can I show my painting, one of my paintings I did recently?
Oh, most definitely.
I did this on Saturday. And it's a cup for two. It's a cup for two. You have to figure out who the two is. And this I also did on Saturday.
Okay. A cup for two. I don't share my tea with anyone.
All right. Thank you.
Moving right along, as stated before, my name is Curtis Henry. I am representing Caribbean Chat. Caribbean Chat is a platform where we celebrate the excellence of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, economics, and what's it not. You can find Caribbean Chat on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. That's Caribbean Chat with 2 T's. If you are not yet subscribed, I'm telling you, you are missing out on some great personalities and great information. This evening, we are all here to discuss what we call generational wealth to generational health. You see, I was taught that the foundation of building wealth was simply to work hard and save money. That's what my grandparents my mother, everyone told me, work hard, get a good job, save your money. But over the course of my life, I've heard people refer to rich people as evil, claiming that the rich doesn't want the rest of us to know about money. I hope tonight that we can all find out if there's any truth to this, or is it that some of us are just not willing to take the time to learn how to become wealthy. My parents never taught me how to save money because there was no money to save. I believe that Tupac sang about my grandmother because she was constantly trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. During her quiet moments, she would be lamenting, telling us horror stories about my grandfather owning property and then eventually losing them all due to a chronic drinking problem. He unfortunately died broke, leaving nothing of monetary value to pass on to future generations. For many years, I, like other people, was under the impression that you need to possess a lot of money to begin investing. I'd like to know, is there any truth to this? Mark, please tell us, is it possible for someone like me to get rich from nothing, starting at ground zero?
Absolutely. You have to begin historically as to how you got from West Africa to here. You had proprietary knowledge, how to plant rice, how to plant sugar cane. That's why you're here. That's why we're all here. All right. And that proprietary knowledge is how we build wealth. You can't build wealth without knowing your own value. Okay? If you think you're going to get a job with someone or for someone and take a salary, they're giving you the piece of money they're willing to give you to do what they want you to do, build wealth for them. For them.
But why do so many of us seem to follow the same path of getting a job and trading time for dollars?
Yes. Time and money. Time and money. That's the first recognition. Your time has a value. But many of us, especially as people of color, don't recognize that. Our time has a value. Disraeli said, listen, there are three types of lies. Lies.
Hold on. That's a very interesting name that you brought up there, Mark. Benjamin Disraeli. I believe he was a prime minister of England. Could you please, does anyone on the panel know who Benjamin Disraeli is? Judith?
Benjamin Disraeli was the first Jewish prime minister of the UK in 1880. And he first disavowed himself and then realized his value once he realized how many Jewish people there were in the UK. And he came with the saying I was getting ready to say, there are three types of lies. There are lies, damn lies, and then there are statistics. The statistics say you should get yourself a good job with someone to pay you a good salary. And then if you save enough, you can buy some property or you can own something. What you own is what they want. Your proprietary information, what you're able to do. What you're able to do.
So let's talk about a bit about financial literacy. Rhonda, I'd like for you to chime in here. Are most people financially literate?
Illiterate. Financially illiterate, and one of the things that you just said to Mark that I think is like, why are people that way? It's because we've been conditioned to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and then that's going to equal your dream life. And I honestly, I have to ask everybody who goes that route, how's it working for you? Because even though people realize that it isn't working for them, we still tell our kids, go to school, get a good education so you can get a good job, work somebody else's dream for them. And that conditioning is generation through generation through generation. We're doing that over and over again because we've been conditioned that it's okay to stay on the plantation, okay, and not do something on your own, but go on to stay on the plantation to do that. And we've been even conditioned that it is it's a good thing, and I think that it's okay, but like me being here in Detroit, I remember years ago, people used to, Black folks, okay, owned drugstores and owned grocery stores. And that doesn't exist anymore because people have bought the conditioning and now they work for, Chrysler or GM or whatever, and they go exchange time for dollars right now, and that's passed on from generation to generation.
Karin, since you are someone who have followed an educational path, going through a, a skill of choice, a trade of choice, to be a nurse, what is your input on this?
As she said, generational conditioning. I've been taught go to college. For me, college was not even optional, and I've said that quite a few times to whoever would listen through the years. It was never an option. I knew that I had to go to college to satisfy a variety of people in my life. I wanted to at that point, but I knew that I had to. As far as after more than 2 decades in one profession, I just decided this is not it. As she said before, this is just not working for me. It's not fulfilling anymore. So I need to do what I really want to do. I want to follow, other passions. So I sort of jumped off that hamster wheel, as I describe it, on my own volition. I just like, to hell with this. I need to do something differently that gives me greater pleasure. So that's why
Judith?
I did what I did.
Miss Barnes, as someone
sir.
who has pursued higher education, tell us
Well,
something.
I never thought I had to go to college. I never had that in my mind that I had to go to college. I never saw that plan. I started out very willful. I left school at 14 years old when I was in Jamaica. I decided I was tired of it. I was bored. So I didn't go back to school until I came to America at 17. And I finished when I was 18 and went on to college. Somebody came to me at high school and said, would you like to go to my alma mater? It was this Italian guy, teacher. I said, sure. He literally took me out there, drove me out there, and with other students. And I got into St. John's University. I went there for like 2.5 years, and I got married. I quit, and I went back in 1980, and I finished. And then later on, somewhere down the line, I saw a commercial about Iona College and going there for a master's degree. I found out that Sloan Kettering Cancer Center would pay for it in full. So I said, okay, let me do that. I was amazed that all these Black folks was at Sloan Kettering and never took advantage of it. That I couldn't understand that. And then when I was somewhat older in Florida, just got that thing. I got to go back to school. I went to pursue a doctorate degree. And with all of that, the money was never the thought for me. I was never really interested in making money. But I can tell you, as I get younger in years, I have a great respect for money and what it can do. I used to give away money quite easily. Something that I started doing very young. But what several things has been said here that really gets my attention. One is, I think Mark said it, that you have to have value. You have to feel valuable to want valuable things and to want money and success. And for years, I did not pursue success. I thought it was not something that I needed or I should have. And then I got over that and so I decided I want to be successful. So you have to have a desire. Historically, in terms of what family has done or whatever, that does influence us. Well, how we, if we go, go about trying to get money. But I've learned that I can do a lot of good for a lot of people, including myself, if I have money.
Do
But
you
I learned.
equate? Sorry.
Uh-huh.
Finish up. I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
What I learned, and I don't know if Miss Fowler would agree with this or Mark would agree with this. I, for years, I've been trying to teach people, Black folks, how to put money aside and do not devalue a penny. Don't devalue 1 cent. And I always tell people, I said, 1 cent leads to 100 cents, and that leads to $1. It might seem very elementary. What's the big deal about $1? If you can't value $1, you can't value $10, and on and on and on. That's my perception. I've taught people how to, when you go to work, don't look at the job as if that's all you can do. You can actually start a business for yourself using some of the funds that you make from your job. That's how I pursue. That's what I'm pursuing right now. I literally just started my own LLC, and I'm doing. My calendar comes out in January, not in January, in December, and I just ordered 1,500 greeting cards made from my own paintings. So the decision is always ours. And even if we didn't get a good message growing up about wealth, Black folks, anybody can learn, but Black folks need to learn to understand. Don't spend everything you have, and you can. I don't want to be rich. I want to be wealthy, and I found out the difference.
Sam, could you finish this statement for me? Money is. It's a serious question. So many people follow that up with the root of all evil, and that is utter nonsense. To you, explain that to me. Money is. How would you finish that sentence?
Money is necessary.
Money is necessary. Karin.
Money is necessary.
I'm going to answer that, but I just wanted to touch on something that Dr. Judith said. I'm just curious how many of us equate success with the accumulation of material things, because I've always drawn a very clear distinction between accumulation of wealth and success. I don't equate the two. Money is a means to an end, to a better quality of living standard for me. That's my answer to that.
What is capital, Rhonda?
Money. I want to answer that. Money is power. Money is freedom. And I saw something as I was looking at this. Henry David Thoreau said, "Wealth is the ability to fully experience life." And you know what? Everybody has a different opinion, I believe, about what financial independence is. Like what Karin was just saying, financial independence for somebody might be just to make sure that they're paying their bills every month, without stressing, and maybe going on a vacation 3 or 4 times out of the year. That is just financial independence for them, to make sure. And somebody else might want to have a house in Jamaica, one in Hawaii, one in Florida, or have a plane or whatever. But the bottom line is, for it to, what Henry David Thoreau said is, wealth is the ability to fully experience life, because sometimes it's just being able to give to needs, and I know a lot of people that want to give more than they do, and they might give in elbow grease, but maybe the situation needs some money, as opposed to it, and your heart is into a particular cause or something like that, and it's here for us. One of the things that I was thinking as we were talking about college is that rich people didn't get rich. All the rich people, they didn't get rich through going through college, but yet we've been conditioned to do that, and very few have done that, the route of going through college. And the reason that I say that is because I believe that advice has hung around far too long, okay? And we need to be doing different kind of advice right now. It's an old advice that has been around too long.
But somehow we seem to be using wealth. We seem to be using wealth, money, interchangeably, and rich, and the word rich. But a comedian says it best, and he says, Shaquille O'Neal is rich. The guy who signs Shaquille O'Neal's check is wealthy. I think there's a vast difference between riches and wealth. Could you explain that for us?
Let me encapsulate this as best I can, because Rhonda, you're absolutely right in what you said. Everyone has been correct. Money is a commodity. It could be pork bellies. It could be anything. Money has no value. Only the value we place on it.
Right.
In 1916, the most powerful currency in the world was the Deutschmark. By 1920, after they lost the war, it took a barrel full of money to buy a loaf of bread. It's a commodity. The question is, what do you have? What skills do you have to acquire the commodity? What are you willing to do? Now, we all poo-poo on the cocaine dealer in Colombia. He's able to acquire a lot of commodity through violence, through however he has to do it. We think, okay, we'll go to college. We'll acquire that much commodity. It's a commodity. That's what it is. It gets us.
Tell me about disciplines. What are some of the disciplines we need to practice to become wealthy?
Well, I want to say that, I think we're all saying the same thing. Money is options. You just have options in life. I called it freedom. It's not, the richness isn't it. It's just a matter of having options to be able to do something. And the thing I think is important for us is the education, in college is just not enough. We need to have financial literacy. We need to understand. Yes. We need to understand how to get it, how to use it, how to keep it, how to grow it, and how to give it, all of those things. And those things just haven't been in our sphere. Okay, college has been, that hasn't, and working jobs has been. And there's a place for jobs, but if you really want freedom, you've got to break out and have ownership. You've got to, even if it's a little bit, you've got to own your money, you got to own your time, and you got to own the abilities that God has given you to grow and to make those things grow. You know what I mean? Like I think about
absolutely. What you're saying is absolutely true. I think it takes some forward thinking, and I'm hoping you'll agree with me on this. Let's just say we own some property. Times are getting tough. People are, they're losing their jobs. All right. You want to sell, you want to get out from under your property. First thing, let me get a realtor and sell it. All right. Now I've got cash. Cash is the commodity. What if you said to someone, I'll hold the mortgage for you. I'll hold the mortgage for you. This is the price. I will hold the mortgage for you. I'm not worried about your credit. I'm not worried about I will hold the mortgage for you. Now you're taking cash and you're making it the commodity that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense? In other words, we're not knowing our value. We're valuing the thing we have rather than the position we're in.
You brought up a very important word. Credit. We are taught in this society that debt is good. Yet still so many Americans are buried in debt, buying stuff they can't afford under the guise of building credit. Is credit somehow misunderstood?
It is good for the credit holder. It's good for the people who are lending the money. It is good.
It's good for someone.
We've been conditioned for that's wrong. I mean, we're like in bondage with that, and it's like another. Bondage is a good word for that. That's what it is, and we're deceived and manipulated with it. And so, if we knew better, we would do better. I hope, And I think the important things that we need to know is really simple. We need to know accounting, and we need to know investing. Now, accounting is like really, really a tough thing, but let me make it real simple for you, okay? Assets and liabilities. We need to understand what those are, okay? Really simple, okay? Assets are things that put money into your pocket. Liabilities take money out. Now, what do we have most of? Liabilities, and we think they're assets. That house, you don't own the doorknob on it. It's a liability. You got me? It's not an asset. I'm saying a person who just goes to buy a house sometimes renting is a good idea because you want the vast amount of your money in investment and growing. And I'm not talking about in the bank, okay? And that's where trillions of dollars is in the bank. And it's like because of a lack of knowledge of understanding what an asset and a liability is and how we get profit out of that, and then understanding how to really invest, it's a mind thing. We have to change our thinking, and we have to learn that as opposed to working harder and harder and harder. And that's what we've been doing, is going out to work harder and harder. And someone put on here, which I thought was awesome, having multiple streams of income is such an important and easy thing to be able to do. And let me tell you one stream that we never think about. Can you imagine your money making money for you while you're out making money? We never think about that. We think, and it can, and it should be doing that for us if we had the knowledge about what to do with that. You got me? That's one stream of income. And another one may be, think about this. The debt that we've accumulated, and you think about how much money they make off of that's expensive money. It's expensive money. And we're not getting that same kind of compounding. Compounding is really important. We're not getting the same kind of compounding on the growth of our money because we don't have the knowledge to do it. We're doing like Curtis said, we're thinking, let's get our credit together so we can go borrow somebody's money, get expensive money. And it's just knowing a few things and actually being able to look at a few things. Like can I ask a few questions? And I want people to think about, like,
go right ahead.
Kind of a self-analysis of your financial planning, okay? Have you selected the proper amortization period for your mortgage? Nobody knows about that. I don't even know if you own a home. Have we thought about getting the proper amortization for your mortgage? You don't have to be paying thousands of dollars in interest. You don't have to be paying it for 30 years. You can get that thing down. Is your will up to date? That's a really important thing, because I know in the state of Florida, if it's not, the state of Florida is your beneficiary.
Get your money.
Tell you what goes on with all the hard work that you've put together and the things you've done in life. These are some little things that people we don't think about, we don't do, we don't get. but they're important. I think about, and I'll give you my personal story in a little bit. But could your dependents live comfortably in the event of your death?
Mm-hmm.
See, we've been conditioned, and we learned how to get the breadwinner buried, but not how to take care of the loved ones afterwards. It's like, man, do we go fund me or do a fish fry or do car washes, to get that stuff done? That's what's happening.
That's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right now.
Sister Fowler, let me bow my head to you.
That to me is one of the most important things that we neglect, but we've been conditioned to have 15,000 to bury the person, but not a $500,000 so that life in that family could go on. They can still stay in their mortgage. The kids can still go to football practice and ballet or play the piano or whatever that family was doing, because we don't know when our death date is.
Mm-hmm.
And what is so interesting to me about that is that we'll protect our cell phones even before we got the breadwinner's income protected.
So I just wanted to take a quick moment and acknowledge the folks in the chat. We have, okay, Sherry-Ann. Oh, this one was for you, Curtis. Grandpa, that is failure. How you go drink out the children's future? That was for you, Curtis. We want to welcome Fania, Desinord, Fania. Oh, sorry, Fania. And thanks for the invite, Karin, Money's Power, Lucy O'Brien, But for Protection. Fania says, Miss Fowler, great points, and I concur. So thank you to Miss Fowler there. It says here, 1, multiple streams of income, 2, practice skills of education, 3, trade skills, 4, over higher education. So I think it's a continuation. Trade skills over higher education. Financial literacy can be taught, but takes huge effort. And then Sherry-Ann says multiple streams of income is essential these days. We want to thank the folks in the chat for taking part. Please put your points there and we will acknowledge them in the conversation. Back to you guys.
I'd like to jump to shift gears a little minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about taxes. Mm-hmm. When it comes to businesses makes money, they spend money, and then they get taxed on what's left. Mm-hmm. Individuals like myself, we earn money, we get taxed on that money, and then we spend what's left. Mm-hmm. I would like for someone to tell us about tax loopholes and that somehow seemingly only work for rich people. Tell us what tax loopholes are available to us.
And you know what? I'm just interrupt really quickly here, Curtis. You know what? That's one of our problems. Is always blaming rich folks for something, and it's really our lack of knowledge. Really, we can do the same things that they're doing, okay? And and our little bit is going to be a little bit better. We don't have as much as they do, but when we apply the same principles that they do, we're going to
tell us the principles.
Listen, Curtis, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Curtis, you have a craft, all right? They pay you directly. What if you got an FEIN number and started an LLC? What would happen? They pay the LLC. Your house is your craft room. Your food you have to pay for. But everything else is under the LLC. Everything else. What you clean up with, that's it. You make no money. The LLC makes no money. So what do you pay taxes on? What do you pay taxes on? Nothing. That's what wealthy people do.
And what we do with our jobs is January through May, we work just to pay taxes. That's a lot of money. We work January through May on a job to pay taxes. And then the rest is ours.
28% of your income. That's a broad brush.
Yeah.
That's a broad brush, but 28% of your income in general. And
I think
you
it's
make
more like
less
17. Isn't it more like 17%?
17%, you're doing well. 17%, you're doing well. You got a lot of children. At 17%.
Meanwhile, the rich people pay 0 to 3%.
Exactly.
How is it possible that Mr. Trump can pay $700 in taxes for the year, and I end up paying thousands?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of these loopholes that we are not understanding?
I think Mark just really explained it to you. And I think that it's like that's a broad brush to say about Trump's taxes too, because there was so much more involved. He's doing exactly what Mark is suggesting that you do. I'm saying big businesses, they write stuff off all the time, and so it brings their income down, and they're just structured right for the tax code the way it is right now. That's really the bottom line.
Let me see if I can clarify what I'm saying. Imagine if the place that you live is the company's workplace, the car that you own is to do the business of the company. Everything, every single thing, except for food. And even clothing could be put in there. You have to go to a meeting. You have to go out to dinner with someone, clothing and entertainment. So that basically everything you made is now written off.
May I say something?
Please.
My son had me watch a video not long ago. Everything that you all are talking about is what is in the video. And, well, we are working on something. He started his own LLC. I have my own now. And all the canvases that I've bought, and I bought a lot, all the stuff that I'm doing comes under the LLC. That's what I'm working on right now. So, but I think what happens to some of us is that we want to start big. We're not willing to start out small. That's just my take on that.
And please add that fear of failure, fear is also one of the biggest obstacles, to take those risks.
And we don't listen to each other well. We don't take teaching from each other well about how to make money and how to be wise about money. We don't do that well. And most of us, in order to get into something, whether it's an LLC or an investment, we rather hear from somebody much lighter than we are. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, and we need to have the right balance of religion. Religion plays a real major part as to how people think about money sometimes. And sometimes
religion and culture. Religion and culture.
So
add culture to that,
that's
please,
another thing
because
that
culture,
we have to have a proper balance or promote a proper balance, because some people have it way, they believe they should be suffering and be punished, and they should be poor. And,
well, the first wrong thing they say is
think
that
of themselves.
The first wrong thing that religious people say is that money is the root of all evil, and that's not true. So the love of money,
yes,
is the root of all evil, not money itself, but the love of it.
Let us shift
to that.
Yeah.
Let us shift a bit and discuss retirement. For someone like myself who has worked independently and worked hard all of my life, I've been self-sustaining since the age of 14. And working for a lot of years, I didn't pay into the system. So right now, if I was to begin drawing Social Security, I may have enough to pay my light bill. That's about it. There's nothing that was put into the system, so there's nothing to get out. Talk to me about retirement. We all know that age varies for different people, but what kind of structure should one have in place before we even begin to think about retirement?
I believe that retirement's like a three-legged stool. Okay, you need all three legs, even if they're wobbly, for that stool to stand up. Would you agree with that?
I would.
I'm listening.
Okay, you need all three legs standing up. One is what you've done in your job. One is Social Security. You can't just have Social Security, okay? And one is what you do on your own. And it's like nothing. What I heard you say is that all you've done is put money into Social Security so far, right? A little bit.
No, not quite. But I'm just saying, if that is all I had to depend on, that it's not gonna go far. Take me across the street. That's it.
You're right. And anybody who is in that situation needs to pay attention. And I meet people a lot of times that are in their 50s that say, man, I haven't been doing anything. What do I do over the next 15 years? There are things that can be done over the next 15 years, to get that up to $500,000 or $1 million so that you can live off of that interest and that sort of thing. But you can't not do anything and expect to get something in the end. And let me give you a good example. I believe this is amazing to me when I looked at these numbers. So let's say somebody comes out of college at 25 making $30,000 a year. Not a lot of money, but a lot of people are coming out of college making that, okay? And they're going to retire at 65. That's 40 years, right, that they work. And let's say they made $30,000 that whole time. We know that they would get raises and things like that. But let's just assume that for 40 years, they got $30,000. If you just multiply that out, that's $1.2 million a working lifetime. And so what happens in those 40 years with that money? It's like people learning, because a 25-year-old starting out doing $200 a month at 9% could have almost $1 million at 65. So that's why the education is so important, especially when they're young. Now, they don't get it when they're young. They need it when they're older.
But Rhonda, you said starting out. In what vessel are we speaking about putting that $200? Definitely, we can't be speaking about the bank.
I am not speaking about
the three. Which vessel are we?
Only thing you should be using a bank for is your checking account. It's an awesome journal for what goes on in your life and all of that. That's my personal belief. But there are so many different. I mean, it's hard for me to pull it up here right now. But there's so many different vehicles out there that are getting 9 to 12%. We're just not a part of it, okay? Because we haven't gotten the education on it. Mutual funds is one.
Tell us, what is a mutual fund? Please don't skip over that.
No,
what is a mutual fund?
A mutual fund is an investment vehicle. Let me get back to the retirement, okay? And then I'm going to add the mutual fund onto it. Okay. Retirement is they're tax laws. Okay, so you got the Roth IRA, you got the traditional IRA, you have the 401k, 403b, the SEP, the Simple, there's some pension plans, all of that. Those are all tax laws. Now, those tax laws are ways for people who are working to be able to put money away for retirement, not just with Social Security. This is outside. That's that other leg on that stool, okay? And then the individual things that you can do are the Roth IRA, which I think is an awesome vehicle, and the traditional IRA. Now, where you put that money, you can put it in a savings account, but we know it's going to grow less than 1%. So most people are putting their money less than 1%. In the bank, the money's growing at like 0.3 or 0.3 or 0.5 or something ridiculous, okay? And then you could also put it in a CD. They're not growing very big either. Then you could put it in mutual funds, or you can put it in stock, or you can put it in an annuity. There are different investment vehicles that you can put those tax laws into it. I suggest...
I didn't mean to interrupt here, but
It's okay.
you mentioned the 401k, which Robert Reich said, "I wish I had never found the 401k."
Mm-hmm.
We had, as a nation, at least in this country, a pretty good deal for labor. I can tell you, I have a simple pension, a 505b pension, a government pension,
Mm-hmm.
which guarantees me 85% of the average of my last 3 years' salary
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good deal.
Mm-hmm.
That got replaced with the 401k. Oh, we will give you 50% up to 6% of your salary that you donate. So basically, it's a glorified savings account. That's not cool. That's not cool.
Let me talk about that. Pension plans went away because companies didn't want to provide that benefit anymore. As a matter of fact,
They didn't.
pension plans were being siphoned off of, just like Social Security is being siphoned off of. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a lot of class action lawsuits where people were like, I'm supposed to be getting 85% of my money, and you guys are saying it's not going to be that anymore because you used it for the roads or whatever it was and decided to do. So they came up with the 401k, but some 401ks, and I've worked with a lot of people who put money in a 401k, and they could put it in a pension plan, like an annuity kind of thing, where get money for the rest of their life. And they can put it in mutual funds, and they can.
You certainly can, but you're taking your money, and they're getting the slough. So, all right, you're paid on Thursday, and your money is coming out on Thursday. They've got 120 days to invest your money.
Yep.
In what you ask them to invest it in.
We're on the other side of that. You know, just like credit cards. We're on the other side of it. So, but it's still a way for people to accumulate money. And
it is. I'm not gonna lie.
And then some companies contribute to it because they get a tax deduction for it, not because they feel like they want to do great things for their employees. It's
not because they like us, huh?
Yeah, no, because they get a tax deduction. But it's like whatever good, if they match 100%, if you're on that job, get it, you know, and do it. And you are putting money away for yourself. See, I think there are a lot of things we don't have control over. Like we don't have control over Social Security, okay? But we can start putting money away for ourselves. We don't have control over what our job is going to pay us. If we look at our budget and find out, man, I need an extra $500 a month for everything. Hey, boss, I need an extra $500. You're not going to laugh you out of the office, right? But you can do other things. You can do side things. You can do things. There are a lot of things that we don't have control over, but there are things that we can do, and we don't tend to do that. What we tend to do, and this is really irritating to me, okay, because it's like hard to change this. We can't change people. What we tend to do is get on the bus and go up to Tallahassee begging and fussing for some more money, okay? And I like to see us say, I mean, that's what happens, you know? And I like to see us say, you know what? I'm taking control. And these are the things that I need to do to take control. And I'm going to put them in place. And like Judith said, it may not happen fast, but I'm telling you, get started now, whenever it is. I heard a little proverb where old man was about to build a tree, and a young man was there, and the type of tree he was trying to build, the young man said, you know, that tree takes 40 years to grow up. And the old man said, well, let's get started now.
All right.
And that's not, because it's like, oh my gosh, we could talk about all the problems, but let's start. Only people we can change is us. And we have the opportunity and the freedom to do that. We just need to get the knowledge.
Rhonda, we throwing words around. And I'd like for you all to break things down to the lowest common denominator.
Okay.
For the ones that are ignorant like myself, what is an annuity?
Okay. When you asked me about a mutual fund too, and I didn't explain that, but an annuity is a stream of money. Okay. It's for life is what it is. Okay.
I like that.
So let me give you an idea of what it is. If you played the lottery, which is another one of those things, I call it the poor man's tax. Okay. That's what the lottery is, the poor man's tax. Okay. So you pay the lottery and you win $1 million. Do you want to get $20,000 for the rest of your life, or do you want them to just take the taxes and get all your money?
At this age, I'll take all the money.
I would take all the money at any age. Okay. You know, at any age, take all the money, because you can take that and work with it and do something and make it grow and, do some things with it. You're getting $20,000. They're going to put it in an annuity and stream that out for the rest of your life. What if you die in 3 months? Who gets the balance? They do. The insurance company does. Okay. So there's some good things with annuities and some bad things with annuities. And I could go into more detail, but bottom line is the stream of
So
income.
it doesn't go to your next, your generation down?
That's called the
generation.
stretch.
Not if you
That's
got it
called a
for your
stretch.
entire life. If you got it for the annuitant's entire life, when you die, it stops.
It's done.
It stops. There are other ways
have-
to do it, but you wouldn't get $20,000 a month. You might get $12,000 a month. And then that way, if you die, it will go to somebody. It's a lot of little details with it, but let me tell you, a mutual fund, an annuity is a way to tax defer, save some money, and then when you get it to a certain point, and let me give you a good idea of what an annuity is. You remember, what's his name? O.J. Simpson. And remember, the Browns were trying to get the money from the O.J. Simpson. Y'all remember that? And they couldn't get it.
They've been trying to get money from OJ. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't get it though, because but he had a house down in Homestead, right? Going golfing all the time before his crazy self went to jail again. But in any case, what happened was he took his money, all of his riches, and said, the Browns aren't getting this. He put it into an annuity. So he don't own it no more. And the annuity figured out actuarially how much he could get each month for the rest of his life. So he's getting 30, 40, 50,000, and they can't take his income. They were trying to take his wealth, his goodies, but he took them and he gave them all. So you don't own that once you annuitize it and you give it to the insurance company. It's like, okay, insurance company, this is yours. How much are you going to give me for the rest of my life? So that
interesting.
You should know what an annuity is after knowing about O.J. Simpson and the Browns. But a mutual fund is a portfolio of stock. And I like to look at it like this, a big, like Sawgrass Mills, big mall, right? A lot of industries out there, wherever you live, there's a big mall somewhere. And a lot of industries, you got electronics, you got underwear, you got jewelry, you got a lot of different. So a mall is like a mutual fund. A lot of companies are inside of it. Professional money managers put it together. They got statisticians and everybody. They put tax people, all of that. They're looking for companies to fit into the philosophy. So let's go back to the mall. If 3 jewelry stores go out of business, does the mall go down? No. The managers find 3 other stores to fit into the philosophy of what's going on there. And that's what a mutual fund is. So it's actually stock, but it's different companies and it's diversified. So you guys remember Enron?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people had their retirement in Enron, right? And guess what? They lost. You remember when Kmart was going down or whatever. It was $1 a share or something like that. So what happens is if it's a lot of diversity, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. General Motors is a great company, but if all your money's in General Motors or Home Depot or whatever, and it goes down, if it's just one part in that whole diversify of companies, then maybe your mutual fund doesn't do 12%, it does 10%. That makes sense? And then they're going to find a company to put in there. So it's a lot of diversity. They've been around since 1929, and we have had no money in it. Okay, and they have ranged anywhere from 9 to 12%. To me, they're a very safe place because of the diversification, because of the professional management. You can do your retirement there. You can do your college education plans to get there. Your goal fund, got a goal to get a house in 5 years. You can, have your money growing there and doing that sort of thing. So that's just a little brief idea of what a mutual fund.
So,
Rhonda, may I ask you a question?
Rhonda, before someone had something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask this follow-up question. How is TIA CREF doing now?
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, because I used to be with them, and I
can tell you for myself.
Let me tell you, everybody's doing good right now.
They're doing quite well.
Okay.
Everybody's doing well right now, for the most part. And you know what? That understanding the market is another kind of financial literacy we need to have. Because let me tell you what happens. A woman on the TV or a man, doesn't matter, says, "Oh, the market's down," and we go crazy over that. In the next 5 minutes, she's doing a session on a dog that bit a little girl, and that's where we take our advice from, And so it's like that fear and understanding that is a really important thing, to really have people understand why you've got to have your money out in the market, even though it goes up and down.
Once again, we speak about money. Hold on, Mark, hold on. We speak about money in the market. I am not ashamed to put up my hand and said, I have $0 right now invested in the stock market. None. Zilch. How exactly does the stock market work? What can I need for you to answer this for me before we wrap up, Rhonda, before you leave us. If right now I had $500, each of us here had $500. What can we do with this $500 for it to work for us? Like you say, send them out like little soldiers to get captives and bring them back home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it really everybody's different. Everybody's got a little different situation going on, and it depends on your goal for that money. Okay. If it's a short-term goal, it's a different kind of thing we would do with it if it's a long-term goal. And the other thing is just $500. Honestly, everybody here needs to be on a monthly basis paying themselves first. Because Discover and those guys will write off, if you don't get to pay them, they'll write it off. You can't write off your retirement. You can't write off your future. Financial analysts say that, what do you think I'm getting to your question, but I need to ask you this. What do you think you need to put away each year for your financial future? What percentage of your income do you think you need to put away?
I have not sat and thought about that. This is why we're having this show.
Throw out an answer. Anybody? Everybody. Don't be scared.
I've already put it away, so I can't answer that.
Okay, let me tell you, most people, y'all scared. Most people say 50% because they think they got to put a lot away for the future, but it's just 10%. So listen to this. If you did 5%, you're better than doing 0%. Okay, but you made $20,000 a year. That's $2,000 every year for your financial future. That's about $160 a month. We have to be thinking about doing that kind of stuff for our future because it's not magically going to get there. But I'm telling you, if you start, even though it's not going to be big right away, Judith, if you start, you're going to look up and be like, what?
Well, I started
Wait.
with little, and people thought I was crazy. And it's increasing because it's a decision.
It's a
I don't
I'm,
want to
I'm
be
gonna,
dependent on Social Security.
you can't.
I've got to interrupt here. I have to. Curtis, you are putting away right now by what you're doing here. You have us all on. You're creating your future. You're using your intellectual property, something that you own. You own this. You own this with your hard work, with your intelligence, with your intellectual property. There's your income stream. There's your retirement. Okay, now we can get into when you blow up, get big, and you say, "Hey, Mark, you too old to be on this show. Go mind your business. Go over there. Go over there. Go mind yourself." Okay, and you blow up. Here is where you start talking about mutual funds and you put away. You put away. All right, but intellectual property, which is where I started, that is where it's at. We don't recognize our intellectual property. We own things. Oh, I own a car. Okay. I need money. Maybe I should sell it. All right. Well, the market's going to determine that. The market. Understand, the market you don't own. All right. But Curtis, let's say you want to sell your car. I need a car. I have no credit. I have no. Well, listen, man. I hold a note for you. I want $6,500 for the car. You still own the car, and you're getting the money. So now you're the market. This is how we have to think. This is how a lot of wealthy white folks think. We don't think that way.
May
We
I
don't
say
think that way.
May I add something to what you're just saying there, Mark? One of the things that's happening to me right now, is I am that intellectual property thing. I am taking charge of it. For many years, I fought against it, and there are a lot of psychological and familial issues why. But I'm no longer into that. So what I am doing now, I'm investing into my intellectual properties. I am using this gift that I found out that I had last year. And I'm now going into calendars. I'm going into greeting cards. And I just contracted this week to order cards because now I have people ordering cards.
Awesome.
So I'm already, and I'm doing it in such a way. I mean, and I'm amazed. I'm, God gave me a good brain, but I didn't know it was this good. But already I'm planning how much I'm putting into it, how much I need to get out of it, so how much I need to sell it for. Because one of the problems that we tend to have is that the people that look like us don't want to pay you for your intellectual property for what it's worth. But in this season, I'm telling you, in this season, all I have to do is do my part and the rest flows. I'm telling you, it's happening. So I already have people ordering stuff before it comes from the printer. I have people ordering my calendars for next year before it even comes back from the printer. But I am using, and that's what for years I wouldn't. Well, we did it in New York. We actually had plays that ran, one of them, Single Life in New York, ran for about 6 months. Curtis, I don't know if you know, we made about $10,000 out of that. But what happened is that we were giving it back to the places that we did these as charity events. So we weren't taking that money. But now, because let me tell you something that I had to get over.
We were honing the craft, honing our skills.
But what I had to get over is the shame of doing well. And there is such a thing. I had to get over that. I had to get over the embarrassment about being successful. Now I want what I want, and I'm not playing, and I'm going to have it, but I'm not talking in a cutthroat way. I'm talking about very deliberate, very practical, still caring, still, but I am going to have what I want because I got things to do. And I'm going to have to talk to you, Mr. Chase, because I have some rollover stuff I want to, some rollover stuff, money.
Oh,
There's
no,
a
no,
shot,
no.
Mark. There's a shot.
Talk to Miss Fowler.
Yeah,
I
Thank
can't
you.
remember everything.
can I share one
Oh,
last thing?
Thank you. Thank you. I want to talk to her. Yes.
There is so much opportunity around us. So Judith, I so love hearing what you're saying. And know this, God's going to open the right doors and
Of course.
close the right doors.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely
No
is.
joke.
And
No
I
joke.
just want to give you real quickly what happened in my life. My dad was born and raised in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And he had, it was tough for him. It was tough for, he ended up getting run out of town, to be honest with you, because he staged a boycott because the place that he worked wasn't paying them right. They weren't paying, they had to clean up the place all the time and they weren't paying them. You know what was going on down during that time in the 30s.
Right.
Okay. And in any case, my dad was a hard worker. He ended up going to the Army. He lived on his hustle, and he sent his money to his parents, his check when he was in the Army. He sent it to his parents to make sure they could take care of the taxes and keep their house and all of that stuff. They had a farm. He worked that. He did all of that stuff. Came to Detroit, and my dad was stopped and frisked every day, okay, during that time. And he had this job, that job. It was really tough for him. My dad was an electrician, such a smart man. He was the first Black head electrician at Dodge, Maine. And, a lot of people didn't like that, but he was that. He a lot of the houses in the city of Detroit, he wired them from bottom to top because he's just a smart man. And he bought homes. He would buy a home for $500, put about $5,000 to $10,000 into it. And he wouldn't sell it. He rented it out. And at one time, I was telling Curtis this, at one time in our life, he had 30 houses that he was renting out. And
Wow.
let me back up a little bit. When he was at the plant, as a head electrician, you don't have a lot of work to do unless something breaks down. Okay. So he was really bored. He got his coffee machine. At that time, they used to have those coffee machines, had really nasty coffee in it. They didn't really like it. My dad bought his day-old donuts and his coffee machine, and 25 cents. So we had quarters all over the house all the time, and he owned the houses and all of that. And so my dad, when he was, and my dad passed 2 years ago. I missed him a bunch, and he was 90 years old. And he had, he left specific things at the time. When the housing crisis in 2008, I was like, Dad, sell these things, man. At the worst part, he'd have a certain amount. At the best part, he'd have a certain amount. It was like 600,000 or 1.5 million, depending on. And it's like he worked hard to do all that and to build all that. And so today it's me and my brother, and my brother's not as active, as I would like him to be. But so that I'm here with the properties now, okay? Because that was what my dad left here for us, and he worked hard for it. He didn't just go to the job. He went to the job, but he also did a lot of stuff on the outside. And that was then. My dad was born in 1928. Okay. So that's how long that has been. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kudos to Dad. Kudos to Dad, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Is awesome.
Karin, what's your tell us? Hold on, Mark. Karin, what is your overall belief about money?
My statement doesn't really change. It's a means to an end. It's a way to live the life that you want to live, afford the things you want to, travel, whatever your personal goals. It's a means to an end. I don't have a greater value for it than that.
Now, I'd like to bring in some a conversation we were having earlier, Karen, and then I brought it up with Mark earlier on, and he started chastising me in terms of my outlook on this particular subject matter. What I said, if I was to take everything that I own right now, every piece of clothing, every piece of stereo equipment, my phone, my shoes, everything, and sell it on the open market, how much would I be worth in terms of what I've accumulated over the course of my life? And it's not a lot. It's not a lot. So in terms of value, if I was on the stock market and I asked her the question, would she invest in me? And she said yes. I said, based on what? And she went into that intellectual property and all of that other stuff. I'm not denying that, but it's part of what Judith spoke about, learning to value yourself. Some of the things that I do come so easily for me. Writing a poem, writing a song, creating something, coming up with a brilliant idea. They come so easy that I tend not to value them, because I can think about something greater this minute and forget about it. Tomorrow I come up with something greater. So I tend not to put value on that. And I'm looking at what I have, tangible things that I have, which are not a lot. And Mark is telling me that, oh, you shouldn't look at money. You shouldn't look at, but I'm going to, and I mentioned this on the show before, cognitive dissonance, where your bank account does not match the talents that you possess or that people tell you possess. The bank account doesn't have enough zeros in there.
Your value
with
is
the
not
amount
liquid.
of talent that I have and what I've done in my life so far, my bank account should be looking like a phone number. It should be looking like a phone number at this stage of my life.
You got champagne taste and beer money. You got champagne taste and beer money. Is the simplification of that. That means nothing.
It means a lot. It means a lot when it comes time for the car payment. It means a lot when the landlord comes knocking.
Yeah. But the fact that you have a car payment says something. Okay? Listen, man. There's a little boy that we all look up to. Start Microsoft. All right? He went to an Ivy League school like me. He drop out. Took somebody else's knowledge and created a database. All right? He doesn't have $2 over lunch money, Papa. $2 over lunch money. His personal wealth is zero. It's his intellectual property that makes his value. All right? You look at this every day, but you don't get the concept. You don't understand the concept. You see it every single day. You know? There's... Go on.
I just think in agreement with what you're saying, Mark. I think what you're saying to Curtis is what it could be said to a lot of people. Unless you consider yourself valuable, little of what you do is valuable. So you do it like Curtis said. You write a poem, and this is how I've always thought. When I worked in the prison system, I remember telling them that I intend to win the Pulitzer Prize one day. And this young man came to me and said, "Oh, when did you win?" What he heard was that he heard win Pulitzer Prize. He thought I'd won. I said, I intend to. So I think when you write with the attitude that this could be a masterpiece or this is a masterpiece, that's what changes your value. You understand what I'm saying? I write posts on Facebook every day, and I consider them masterpieces. I consider them at any time somebody could contact me, and I've actually put them in a book. I have hundreds of them in an actual book that I've sold. It's still on the market, but it's my thoughts. I have a lot of value on my thoughts, so I think that's what you're saying. That's
That's
part
the
of the whole
crazy.
thing. Huh?
We look, I guess my point is we look for other people to value what we do.
I value my own self. That
Yeah, yeah.
I know I have
I
to. I have no
mean,
choice in that.
it's not about selling something or selling our wares. It's we're valuing ourselves
Yeah.
by what other people will pay us. You know, I'm a risk manager. I'm an actuary. I'm an economist. Okay. I have an Ivy League education. It's worth X. No, it's not. It's worth what in the hell I say it's worth.
That's it. That's why we have a master con artist right now that says they're
Yeah,
worth more than they
it's
actually
worth
are.
nothing. And unfortunately, went to the same damn school I did. I don't have the money he has.
Well, he don't
Why?
have much of what he says he has anyway. Sorry.
Oh no,
I'd
but
like
he
to,
understood his value.
at this time, I'd
But
like to, go ahead, Karen.
no, I keep on reiterating this. The distinction has to be made between personal value, physical wealth. When you look up the definition of wealth in the dictionary, it's all about monetary
Right.
value.
Right.
I'm talking about personal value, wealth, and your sense of personal success. Totally different entities, completely separate. It's when we get all those signals crossed. That's where we get really messed up.
Yeah, I agree with
You know?
you.
Yeah. And I think well, I don't know if I'm saying something different here, but you can have a wealth of really good relationships, and I think that's maybe what Mark is saying, is and a wealth of good connections and a good life, and which is abstract, those things are abstract, but you know what I mean? Because it's all, but I think Curtis is, I'm guessing, Curtis, that you're like, I want the money.
Where's the money? Show me the
Yeah. And see, that's where
what I'd like to do.
I say to Curtis, the money comes when you understand your value.
When I understand my value, I will make a note of that. I need to go on a quote. I need to pass on a quote here that was made by one of my fellow thespian of mine. He asked the question, why are we not vested in the country that we have adopted? Many of us come here with plans just to return home. So a lot of us come here, we work, we send money back home and build a structure there, build a house with one day, having the intentions that one day we will return. And he gave another quote. He said, many of us come to these shores as passengers and return home as cargo.
Please give the credit.
Ewan McDonald made both of those quotes. Many of us come to these shores as passengers and return home as cargo.
But that's also a decision.
Somewhere along this quest, along this fight, along this struggle, a lot of us pass away. And our country of origin end up being nothing but a burial ground for most of us. And we do not invest in this country that we dwell in right now. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, one of the things I've had a struggle with Jamaicans for years, with this whole idea that they invest in everything in Jamaica, that they have to return. They're going to go back there, and they put everything there, and they kind of waft through life here. They don't really live. They're waiting to go back home to live. And I remember this lady in New York I used to work with at this hospital, and let me tell you, she built a mansion. And when you saw the bidet in the bathroom, and she could drive into her fancy garage, I mean, everything was fabulous. And in New York, she lived like she was so poor and, far from prosperous. And she did like 2.5 jobs. She did all this stuff so she could build that house in Jamaica. And from what I understand, God bless her, she went home and dementia took her over in no time. She could not even enjoy that house. And I have a major issue, even in counseling people, we've got to learn how to live where we are. They say, grow where you're planted. We got to do our best here. And if we make it back home, fine. But you cannot, well, not you can't. It's not a good idea to postpone present living for future hope. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I think I agree with that quote but it's about our decision-making process. It's how we look at life. If everything is just to come here to get something to go back, and Karin kind of said that, it's about our culture. And our culture causes us to make the decisions that we make. So we have to change our mindset. Are we going to be living here or are we passing through? Because if you're living here, you're going to make some investments. Financial, emotional, social. I've made all those investments here. I've been here since I was 17. And so the decision has to be, is this something you're passing through? This is where you're living. So you got to make those investments here.
Is it too late?
Never. Never,
Thank
never,
you.
never, 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 never.
Wow.
Let me tell you, I shout it for everybody. Never let anybody tell you. At 65 years old, he said to me, you can paint. And I'm painting. I never knew I could paint. I never knew I could draw anything. So for me, don't you tell me. In the Bible it says you'll get beauty for ashes. I'm getting some serious beauty for ashes.
Yeah.
But it's about what you think. I'm not a religious person. I have a relationship. And that's a big difference. And I have no problem. I have no problem against money. Money is a good thing. It's how you use it. What are you using it to do? And are you using it stupidly? My son is 24 and he's making some financial decisions already that I'm just like, he said, watch this video with me. I said, okay, I got it. So I can learn from, and I'm learning from him. So, but my problem with us as a people is that we will not learn from each other. We go find somebody else to teach us. And the next thing you know, this great person. No, you don't worry about a great person. You worry about the great investments they're going to make for you. I'm not interested. I love people, but I'm not.
Dr. Judith.
Yes, sir.
Each one. I'm wearing a shirt, and I'm gonna continue every time we are on the air to wear either an HBCU shirt or black frat, black sorority shirt.
So answer the question for me, Mark. Is it too late?
Hell no. Are you mad? You drink mad puss piss. It's not too late.
Never.
It will never be too late.
Never, never, never.
We look, they brought us here to teach them something and then use us as chattel. We are the teachers, not the learners.
We would only recognize.
Everything that Miss Fowler said is correct. Correct. All right? But we have to support each other and ourselves. We have to recognize the value of what we bring.
Yep.
All of us bring to these shores. Miss Fowler talked about her father. My father was born 1921. All right? I know what he brought here. He has a wing named for him at NYU Medical Center as an epidemiologist. My mother has a wing in Bellevue Hospital named for her as a psychiatrist. All right? With nothing. Only their own mind.
Mr. Archer, answer that question for me. Is it too late?
Never, 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 never.
Well, if you're in the grave, yes, it is. But if you're on this side of the dirt, it's not too late. You can still recover and make things happen. A little bit of education it goes a long way. Are we on the wrap up part of things here, or we just
No, I need for everyone to answer that question. It's just
we just
very
answering the question?
important.
Yeah. So
Yes, I need everyone to answer that one.
as long as there's breath and the mind is on target, you can still recover from if anything, or build or develop something new. It's so on that note, no.
Karin?
I agree with Mr. Archer verbatim.
I need to hear this in your own words.
I just said it. It's never too late.
That was
It's never too late. It's never too late. These are my own words.
Rhonda?
It's not too late, and not but, and we have to start now. Now. Yeah. You know that idiom I gave you about that tree? We got to start now, because, I'm on the other side of things as well in terms of age. And that doesn't bother me one bit. I just,
tree of life, huh?
I don't even care about what's happened the last decades or what's happened before. Right now, I'm in now, right now. So as much information as I can get out to people now, I'm doing it. Sometimes I have to stand up on the table for people to listen to me.
What?
In any case, now's the time. Now's the time. And you know what? The only reason, and I think Karin mentioned it earlier, the only reason somebody would think that it isn't is because of fear and because of discouragement. And it's like, well, why would we live in fear or discouragement? I mean, it's like we might as well just go into neutral, I mean, we're not ready for that. We're in drive, Yes,
ma'am.
So tell us, as we close up this evening, how can each of us as individuals, how can we as a family, how can we as a group put together a solid plan, lay a solid foundation that would ensure generational wealth?
Well, we need to start learning some things. Okay. And I think doing it individually and collectively is a really important thing, because you learn something and you share it with me, and I share it with Judith, or she learns something. And I just think individually we need to just put our hard hat on and go out there and learn. Now, if I'm to be involved, I'd be glad to do whatever, works in terms of a seminar or one-on-one, to get things started, anything like that. I'd be glad to do that. And even referral. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. But I know a lot of people that I can refer to, and I have no problem saying I don't know stuff I don't know. Okay. And, but I know how to get us started in that direction. So, that's what I would suggest, and that we continue to share and grow as we learn, share what we learn so that we can grow. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
So before you leave us, Rhonda, please tell us, where can people find you?
You know what? Can I leave my phone number with you?
I need your number.
Okay. You want me to just say it, or do I write it?
No.
This is
No.
Okay.
Is there a website, some organization or whatever that the listening audience can find you?
Yeah. Let me see. I think, can I put it out? I'm like putting it all together right now. So
speak it into existence.
Okay, I will. Can I give that to you and then put it on another time or something? Can
Yeah,
Okay.
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 I feel
Okay.
perfect, yeah.
And Curtis, you and Sam, you both have my phone number, so you can pass it
Yes.
on. Mhm.
Okay,
We'll
Dr.
update
Fowler.
the notes in the YouTube thing. There's a way we can
In the
do an
chat.
update in the description.
Okay,
Um,
Rhonda, don't leave. Just stay with us. But right now, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the panel for dropping by this evening and
Amen.
Thank
sharing
you.
with us
Thank you.
thank
your
you.
pearls of wisdom.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much for joining us, Rhonda. Don't leave. Stay with us.
Okay.
Closing remarks, please, Judith.
It's been some of it is affirm, some of it is confirmation. A lot of it is confirmation. And I believe fervently. It's never too late. I am a living example that when they tell you it's done, it's time to get started. And I believe in that tree that she's talking about. As I told a student today, every time I tell you to do something, you tell me, well, I didn't know before. I say, you know now, don't you? Do it now. And
Now.
that's exactly how I live. What I learn things from my son, I learn things from anybody, like Rhonda just said, and I appreciate that. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So and one of the things that I'm big on is exactly what she said. When my sister moved to Georgia, she was living in New York. She called me. She retired. She called me. She said, how can you help me? I want you to get a house for me. I did everything for her. I wrote a budget out for her. I bought the furniture for the house, and she has a beautiful house. She has beautiful furniture. She said to me, how could you get all this stuff under $5,000? Good stuff, nice quality stuff, because I shop wisely. Like I tell my son, you see in the stores that they have all these fancy stores, all the stuff they have up front, that's for crazy black folks. I go to the clearance section where I get good quality stuff, just as wonderful. And I look sharp and you'll never know where I got it from, but I didn't spend the money that the folks spend up front. So I believe in all the stuff that's being talked about here. I live that way. And I just share this real quick with you. And I would like, especially for Rhonda, to hear this, is that about for years I've been working. I always took my lunch to work. And I attribute anything good in me to the Lord. Anything good that I do or say to him. And about a year ago, I heard it. I heard it clearly in my spirit. The money that you used to save from not buying lunch on the street when you worked for 40 years. See, this is why I tell people, don't take God and make it a hindrance and make you into a victim. It's supposed to make you into a victor. I'm a victorious person. And what I heard in my spirit was, suppose you start saving that money now that you could have saved back then for the lunch you didn't buy. Because I'm still taking my lunch to work after all these years. And my HOA is $400 a year. And all I heard is open a separate account. Put $25 a week. The HOA is due in March. I've had the money. It's $400 a year. I've had the $400 plus 300 and something in that account. I've had that for over 6 months. The money is already there to pay the HOA. So when people tell you can't do, yes, you can. It's a decision. It's an attitude. And I wish our folks would just stop and listen to each other. Like I tell people, if you want to shoot the messenger, at least use the message.
Thank you so much, Judith. Karin, what are your closing remarks?
I've already given it, sir. I've already given it. It's been covered.
It's funny.
It's been covered. Nothing that needs to be said. Nothing else needs to be said.
Mr.
Not by
Archer.
me.
Well, I must say that I learned so much. It was really good to see, learn of, sorry, see, and meaning that the third eye was working during this episode. Definitely thanks to Rhonda. And it was good to see Mark in his element tonight. I mean, Mark was really in his element tonight, man.
Come on. My guy looked like he was getting paid.
Yeah, man. It was really, really good to see that. I'm sure this would be one of the interesting things about this podcast since we started it is that I'm getting a lot of after effect type of things, so people would see an episode and they're like, yo, this topic you all did was really, really informative. And I'm sure this is going to be a topic that folks are really going to gravitate to. Folks that are like-minded and that's looking to make a change. One of the things I would like to see, and I'm doing my part, and I'm hoping that everyone that's on the panel and even those that are viewing, is I would like to see the cycle, especially in the Black experience, where the kids are starting from point A. If your parents are here, they need to go from A to B, and the kids should be able to take it from B to C, and their kids should be able to take it from C to D and all of that. And very too often, we're seeing that parents are here, they pass on, and everyone is starting from point A. Everyone is starting from point A, and there's no sort of plan to propel and say, okay, let's leave this here so that the kids could take it to the next level. And I would like to promote that we think and do our parts. And I just want to also give this brother a plug, although he doesn't know me personally. But this book right here, it's called The Memo. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this book, but The Memo by brother John Hope Bryant is a really good book to sort of shake the brain muscles a little bit, and he brings some really good information. So you guys check that out. It's called The Memo, and it's a really good resource that we can start looking at leaving something, for the kids. Not every tree that we plant, we would be eating that fruit. That some of those fruits would be for the grandkids and the great grands, and we need to start thinking on that level. But I enjoyed this. As you notice, I didn't say much. Normally, when there's a show that I'm not saying much, I'm listening and I'm learning. And this was really, really a great learning episode for me tonight. Thank you and kudos to all the panelists and even all the folks in the chat that brought something to the table. Really, really informative. Back to you, my brother.
Mr. Mark Chase, like Sam said, you were in your element tonight.
Yeah,
Boy, Sam, the boy has
That's
some
right.
sense, man. The man, he stayed on quiet for most of the time, and he decided to shine tonight. We're talking about his
He pull out the flashlight, man.
Yeah, this is his most favorite subject matter thus far. We're talking about money.
I am
Speaking
just
about money,
minding my business.
I noticed
I
generally. Hold on. I come into generally he echoes Aretha Franklin.
I get no respect.
RESPCT. He talks about respect and he speaks about honor. Tonight, the man was all about my money. I don't want to hear anything else. Show me the money. He was in his element tonight. I thank you, sir, for the pearls of wisdom that you dropped. Leave us with your closing remarks.
Well, I firstly want to thank Miss Fowler. Thank you. Because the rest of these fools here.
Face the man, though, eh?
Yeah, no, I in my element, I gonna be feisty.
That's all right. Yes, I'm gonna cut you off.
I want to say thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
We have a wonderful diaspora. Okay, and as a friend said to me, particularly Mr. Henry, I'm not West Indian, I'm West African. As we all are.
Amen.
There are things we need to understand. That understanding comes through education, history, and an understanding of who we are. You made that very clear tonight, and I thank you. I thank you. Money is simple. Wealth, that's another thing altogether. You made that clear. I thank you. Thank you for being on the panel. And I got to slap Mr. Henry around a little bit because he don't know nothing. Last thing he knew, he forgot, and Karin reminded him of it. So, no, I appreciate your presence, and hopefully the audience learned, understood something about how to build generational wealth. It's been denied to us as a diaspora. We weren't brought here to build wealth. We were brought here to show them something and hopefully die off or go home or whatever we were going to do. Well, we're still here and coming here in numbers where the oppressors are now soon to be outnumbered. So I think we better learn how to build generational wealth. And people like you are the key. I can talk all I want, but I am an old man. I'm trying to find some place to lay down nice with the pension. And the hell with me, kids. No generational wealth for you. Too bad. Rock hard. Good for you. I thank you for coming on and explaining to some of the listeners what it takes. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Chase. I would like for us as a people to learn from other people's successes as well as their mistakes.
Yeah.
We sometimes like to embody what the rich people do, but sometimes we have to listen to the beggar at the side of the street and not fall into the same potholes that they fell into. Even that man has some wisdom to teach. Learn from the rich, learn from the poor. We as Black people, we spend more money by accident than other people spend on purpose. Judith said that about the store. When you walk in and the first thing you see, that first shiny object, you tend to run and buy it.
Me.
I heard one comedian, forget it, Kevin Hart, said that when he got his first check, he went and bought a $250,000 watch.
Jesus, deliver my soul. Sorry. Oh.
And in a roast, in one of the roasts, Martha Stewart said to him, "There's a term for that, and it's not African American rich."
I wonder. Ooh.
We have to realize that increased income allows increased spending, which allows increased borrowing, which allows increased selling. So we have to find ways to increase our income, not from one source, as was stated here early on tonight, multiple streams. That was said by one of the people in the chat room.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned about saving money or accumulating some funds, saving 10% of my income. That I learned from The Richest Man in Babylon. That book, very important book.
Very good.
That's the one lesson I got from there. 10% of everything I earn is mine to keep. As a family, as a people, most of us, we can't teach or practice what we don't know. So this forum tonight was vitally important in beginning that process to teach each other and to teach the public at large what it takes. Thank you, Mark Chase. Thank you, Ms. Fowler. And Judith, you said for us to grow where you are planted. That lesson I will walk away tonight. Grow where you are planted. I hope that all the information we passed on tonight will help us to acquire generational wealth, which in turn will create generational health. Thank you, panelists, for joining us. See you next show. Peace.
Shalom.